Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here, and I feel privileged to talk about these great masterpieces, which are the Allegory of the Cave and the Bhagavad Gita, right? Plato's Allegory of the Cave and the Bhagavad Gita emerge from distinct cultural and philosophical scenarios. Nonetheless, both texts engage profoundly with fundamental questions surrounding ignorance, knowledge, and the nature of ultimate reality. So despite their differing historical contexts and methodological approaches, they converge in their alignment with the principles of Philosophia Perennis, a conceptual framework that posits the existence of universal and timeless truths underlying the world's spiritual and philosophical thoughts. This study undertakes a comparative philosophical analysis of these two works through a panentheistic lens, drawing particularly on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy of Achintya Veda Veda, inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference, and Carl Christian Friedrich Krause's formulation of panentheism. By critically juxtaposing these texts, the investigation seeks to uncover their shared structural insights into the process of enlightenment, the entrapment within illusion, Maya or doxa, the arduous ascent toward higher cognition in the function of rationality in dispelling ignorance, and the existential and ethical tensions involved in reintegrating into the world after the apprehension of ultimate truth. So furthermore, this study aims to underscore the enduring relevance of these insights within the context of our contemporary digital age. So now on the metaphysics of the Allegory of the Cave. So in the Republic, Plato describes an ideal society ruled by philosopher kings where justice occurs when each person fulfills the role suited to their nature. In Book 7, he presents the Allegory of the Cave as a metaphor for reality, knowledge, and enlightenment. So, in the allegory, prisoners are confined from childhood, seeing only shadows on a cave wall, which they mistake for reality. One is freed by external force, not choice, and compelled to ascend toward the light. Though initially blinded by the sun, he gradually perceives the true world, culminating in the vision of the agathon, the good, the ultimate source of all being and understanding. Returning to the cave, he struggles to see in the dark and faces rejection from those still imprisoned. The allegory raises enduring questions. Is enlightenment self-driven or guided? And once truth is known, can or should one return to ignorance? Now on the metaphysics of the Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita, embedded in the Mahabharata, presents key Vedic philosophical teachings on Dharma, Bhakti, and Moksha. Structurally, it outlines three main yogic paths to spiritual realization: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So the narrative unfolds as a profound dialogue on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where the warrior Arjuna, overwhelmed by moral anguish at the thought of fighting his own king, turns to his charioteer, Krishna, who is ultimately revealed to be the supreme divine being. Krishna's teachings address Arjuna's existential crisis by illuminating the nature of Dharma, the eternal essence of the Atman, and the importance of rising above Maya, attachment, and delusion. At the heart of this discourse is the idea that the true battle lies within, a struggle that requires discipline, detachment, and surrender to the divine will. The text culminates in Arjuna's transformation from paralyzing doubt to clear understanding, This shift reflects the Gita's central message of liberation, achieved through fearless commitment to one's Dharma, selfless action, and the direct realization of ultimate reality. Now, specifically on ignorance, Plato's allegory of the cave and the Bhagavad Gita both conceptualize ignorance as a form of existential confinement. In Plato's allegory, the prisoners are bound within a cave, mistaking mere shadows for reality, unaware of the true world beyond their limited sensory experience. Similarly, in the Gita, Arjuna is initially paralyzed by grief and moral confusion on the battlefield, unable to perceive the broader metaphysical and ethical context of his duty. In both narratives, ignorance obscures the truth, and liberation is contingent upon a transformative reorientation of perception. Plato's metaphor of the sun symbolizes the ascent toward the knowledge and intelligible realm, illuminating the path of the soul toward ultimate truth. In parallel, Arjuna's journey unfolds in three key stages: his initial despair and moral hesitation, his reception of philosophical instruction from Krishna, and his final enlightenment, culminating in the theophany of Krishna's divine form. Arjuna's hesitation arises from a conflict between his kshatriya duty to engage in battle and his fear of a precipitating moral degradation and the disintegration of a social order. So he articulates four principal objections: the immediate suffering caused by war, the ethical corruption it entails, the threat it poses to the maintenance of Dharma, and the presumed superiority of a renunciation over action. Krishna systematically addresses and refutes these concerns, emphasizing the necessity of performing one's described duty in accordance with the divine order. The vision of Krishna's cosmic form ultimately dispels Arjuna's ignorance, enabling him to recognize and embrace his role within the broader spiritual and cosmic framework. Now on knowledge. In both Plato's Republic and the Bhagavad Gita, the protagonists begin in resistance, but undergo profound inner transformations that shift their understanding of reality. In Plato's allegory of the cave, the soul ascends from ignorance to knowledge. The prisoner, once confined to shadows, is forced into the light, gradually perceiving the sun, the symbol of truth. So when one was freed from his fetters and compelled to stand up suddenly, and someone should drag him thence by force up the ascent and not let him go before he had drawn him out into the light of sun, or the sun. Similarly, in the Gita, Arjuna hesitates before battle, paralyzed by doubt. His transformation begins with surrender. Now I am confused by my duty and have lost all composure. And then, now I am your disciple. Please instruct me. This journey mirrors Plato's idea of the good as the source of truth and reality. The final and most difficult thing to perceive is the idea of the good, the source of all truth and wisdom. So in both traditions, enlightenment is not mere intellectual understanding, but a radical shift, a turning of the soul toward ultimate reality. The Phaedrus deepens these with the charioteer myth, depicting the soul's struggle to ascend toward divine truth. Thus, both Plato and the Gita portray awakening as a transformative movement from illusion to truth, integrating intellect, action, and the soul's deepest orientation in the pursuit of liberation. Now, the ultimate reality. So both Plato and the Gita depicting revelatory experiences that transcend ordinary human perception. In Plato's Republic, the allegory of the cave culminates in the prisoner's vision of the sun, which symbolizes the highest form of enlightenment, the recognition of the ultimate source of truth and existence. As Plato writes, he would be able to look upon the sun itself and conclude that it presides over all things in the visible region and is the cause of all these things they had seen. A parallel moment occurs in the Gita when Krishna unveils his universal form to Arjuna, radically altering Arjuna's understanding of reality. So this divine manifestation, however, requires a transformation of perception. And then an example, but you cannot see me with your present eyes, with your material eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Krishna presents himself as both immanent and transcendent, articulating a metaphysical framework in which all beings exist within him, and yet he remains beyond them. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. So this theophanic vision echoes the Platonic image of the sun, which simultaneously illuminates the world and reveals the ultimate nature of reality. So now in Plato, last of all, he will be able to see the sun, not mere reflections of him in the water, but him in his own proper place and not in another, and he will contemplate him as he is. He will then proceed to reason, then this is he who gives the season and the years, and is the guardian of all that is in the visible world, and in a certain way, the cause of all that he and his fellows have been accustomed to behold. The Gita conveys the brilliance of this vision through a striking metaphor. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person. For Arjuna, this vision marks a profound shift in consciousness as he perceives the cosmic order embedded within Krishna's being. His subsequent request to see Krishna once more in his human form signifies a transition from familiarity to reverence, a movement akin to the Platonic ascent from illusion to truth. And now, toward a philosophia perennis. Both Platonic and Vedantic philosophies converge in their enduring significance, each urging a recognition of ultimate reality that unites and transcends the multiplicity of appearances. Influenced by Parmenides, Plato investigates the tension between the one and the many, positing that unity underlies the phenomenal world. Similarly, the Gita affirms that all diversity emanates from the essence of Krishna. So let us now focus on three thematic axes. So the interplay of unity and diversity, the cross-cultural resonance between Platonic and Vedantic metaphysics, and the contemporary relevance of these philosophical paradigms. So unity and diversity. To fully appreciate the metaphysical core of both Allegory of the Cave and the Gita, it is essential to look beyond their symbolic forms and attend to their ontological claims. In Plato's allegory, the sun symbolizes the form of the good, the transcendent source of justice, beauty, and truth, situated beyond the physical realm. In a parallel manner, Krishna's Vishwarupa reveals the absolute reality, simultaneously the origin and the solution of all existence, demonstrating the underlying unity amidst apparent multiplicity. Nonetheless, an important difference stands out, and this is important. Plato's sun represents an abstract and immaterial principle, accessible only through rational contemplation, while Krishna's universal form is tangible, personal, and experienced through the senses. Despite this contrast, both concepts express aspects of panentheism and achintya beda beda, the Vedantic philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference. This sets them in sharp contrast to Shankara's non-dualistic Advaita Vedanta, which declares the ultimate reality as absolutely singular, all apparent diversity being illusion. Moreover, philosopher Gabriele Cornelli is in his lecture, Was Plato a Dualist?, challenges the traditional reading of Plato as a dualist. He suggests that the apparent dualism in Plato's metaphysics is introductory rather than absolute, a transitional framework guiding the soul toward a deeper apprehension of unity. This study affirms that the dynamic of one and the many within Plato's system finds resonance with Krause's panentheism and Chaitanya's philosophy of achintya beda beda. For Krause, the absolute is Wesen, in whom the universe exists, yet who also transcends it. Chaitanya similarly taught that the divine is both immanent and transcendent. Socrates articulates the ontological implications of the sun in Book 6 of the Republic. The sun not only provides visibility to visible things, but also bestows upon them generation, growth, and nourishment, though it itself is not generation. Likewise, the good confers not only knowledge upon intelligible objects, but also being and essence, though it itself is beyond essence. Correspondingly, Krishna affirms in the Gita, everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. In both perspectives, unity and diversity are not seen as opposites, but as coexisting realities. Neither viewpoint embraces a strict division between matter and spirit, nor do they advocate for complete absorption into an undifferentiated oneness. Instead, the one, whether understood as the good, the divine, or Krishna, upholds and illuminates the existence of multiplicity. Now, what can we draw from this, what we have? So, conceptual parallels. Krause's panentheism, God in all, yet beyond all. Plato's form of the good functions as the ultimate ontological principle, akin to Krause's Wesen, the essence that encompasses and transcends the cosmos. The sun analogy is dual dynamic. Immanence, the sun enables and sustains life, just as the good grounds intelligible realities. And transcendence, the sun remains ontologically distinct, as does the good from the world of forms. Now, Chaitanya's achintya beda beda, inconceivable oneness and difference. The good is both identical with and distinct from its manifestations, echoing the paradoxical Vedantic insight that the divine simultaneously embodies unity and difference, and the rejection of both rigid dualism and non-dualism. Unlike Cartesian dualism, Platonic metaphysics envisions a hierarchical unity. The sensible and the intelligible alike depend on the good, which itself transcends both, what also contrasts with Shankara's non-dualism that dissolves all in Brahman. Plato maintains graded reality. Shankara sees duality as illusion. This framework aligns with both Krause's and Chaitanya's theological models, where divinity encompasses the world while remaining beyond it. Now, cross-cultural perspectives. Reading the Bhagavad Gita through a Platonic lens allows us to perceive Krishna as the embodied form of the good, the ultimate metaphysical principle through which knowledge and reality are illuminated. Just as Plato's sun represents the condition of intelligibility, Krishna's universal form reveals the origin and substance of all being. Arjuna's struggle mirrors the existential crisis of the philosopher in the cave. Material attachments obscure his vision of truth, just as shadows obscures the freed prisoner's understanding. The ascent from illusion to insight through the path of viveka, so discrimination, parallels the philosopher's journey toward the intelligible realm. Liberation for both Arjuna and the Platonic thinker entails recognizing that ultimate reality is not other than the divine itself, immanent and transcendent. So in both systems, true liberation is not found by rejecting the world, but by realizing its deep connection with the divine. The material realm is not denied, but understood as part of a higher ontological unity. And the contemporary relevance. Plato's cave and the Gita's philosophy of Maya remain deeply relevant to contemporary thought. The cave's shadows can be seen as ideological narratives, media constructs, and digital illusions that shape modern perception. In today's information-saturated world, these shadows are not passive distortions, but active forces, algorithms, curated content, and social norms that obscure reality. The Gita's concept of Maya echoes this critique, highlighting the illusions born from conditioned perception and attachment to appearances. So, Eduardo Eveiros de Castro's perspectivism offers a valuable lens to understand how truth is shaped by culture and one's ontological viewpoint. This resonates with the Gita's teaching that true knowledge arises only by transcending ego and social conditioning. Similarly, Marcel Detienne's work on ancient symbolism shows that so-called foundational truths are cultural constructs subject to critique and reinterpretation. Byung-Chul Han expands this argument, asserting that authentic thought resists digital conformity. It requires the courage to dwell in uncertainty and embrace the unknown. Within this view, both Plato and the Gita call for epistemological liberation, a detachment from modern illusions, and a return to the essential unity that connects all beings. Ultimately, the path to liberation is not solitary, but shared. A collective pursuit of wisdom that unites metaphysical insight with ethical action. In this integration, the teachings of Plato and the Gita offer enduring guidance for the challenges of our time. And finally, so the conclusion, Plato's allegory of the cave and the Gita both explore the human struggle against ignorance and the pursuit of true knowledge. Despite arising from different cultural and philosophical traditions, they share the idea that enlightenment demands a radical shift in perception, a journey from illusion to reality. Both emphasize the need to move beyond false beliefs, whether imposed by society or rooted within ourselves, to uncover deeper truths about existence. In today's world, shaped by misinformation, media bias, and ideological divides, these teachings remain strikingly relevant. The shadows in Plato's cave and the Gita's concept of Maya mirror the distorted realities of our digital age. Truth is often filtered through social media, political spin, and consumerist values, which cloud our judgment. Both philosophies call us to question appearances and embrace intellectual humility as a path to clarity. Overcoming these modern challenges requires critical thinking and self-awareness. Like the prisoners in the cave or Arjuna in the Gita, we must awaken from ignorance through inquiry and ethical reflection. Practically, this means fostering education and intercultural dialogue that inspire questioning, challenge assumptions, and support a more integrated view of knowledge. By engaging with the insights of Plato and the Bhagavad Gita, we can cultivate a more discerning, truth-oriented approach to understanding the world. Ultimately, both philosophies affirm that beneath the diversity of appearances lies a deeper unity. In a time when technology increasingly shapes our view of reality, their message is especially urgent. They remind us that real freedom doesn't come from accepting appearances, but from the disciplined effort to see beyond the shadows toward a more genuine and meaningful life. So, thank you.
Thank you very much,